Bathsheba was never on the roof. The story you know puts her there, bathing in the open where a king could not help but see her. Read 2 Samuel 11 again. It puts David on the roof. It never says where she was. And every verb in the sentence that follows belongs to him. It begins in spring, the time when kings go forth to battle. Joab takes the army out to Rabbah, and the siege begins, and David sends them and stays. The chapter's first sentence tells you where the king is not. David's Jerusalem is small, a narrow city on a spur of rock built down a slope. The palace stands at the top. The houses fall away beneath it in terraces, roof below roof, courtyard below courtyard, open to the sky because there is nowhere else for a household to wash. A man standing on the palace roof does not have to look for anything. The city is laid out beneath him like a table. That is context. It is not an excuse. It explains a sightline and nothing else. Somewhere in those terraces is the house of Uriah the Hittite, a foreigner in Israel's army, and not a marginal one. His name closes the roll of David's mighty men, the 30 who fought nearest the king. And the woman in that house is introduced like this. Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? Placed between two men before the text tells you a single thing about her. There is an Eliam in that same roll of 30. Eliam, the son of Ahithophel the Gilonite. Ahithophel is the king's counselor, a man whose advice, the text says, was treated as though God himself had been asked. Whether that Eliam is her father, scripture never says. Hold the name. It comes back. Evening tide. David rose from his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself. Read that again, slowly. The text puts David on a roof. It gives her no location at all. Not a rooftop, not a terrace. Nowhere. The image the entire story is built on, the woman bathing in open view, is not in the sentence. Someone added it later, and it stayed. What the text does say is that she was purifying herself. That is ritual observance. And it does two things. It places the encounter after her monthly cycle, which is how the narrative establishes, without ever saying so, whose child this is. And it tells you what she was doing when he saw her. She was keeping the law. Then, David sent and inquired after the woman. He does not know who she is. He has to send someone to find out her name. Whatever is happening on that roof, it is not a woman drawing a man's attention. He has already given it. And then the sentence this whole story turns on, and David sent messengers and took her. And she came in unto him, and he lay with her. He sent, he took, he lay, 3 verbs, 1 subject. Hers are 2. She came, she returned, and then she speaks. For the only time in the chapter. 4 words. I am with child. Here is what the text does not give us. It does not record her consenting. It does not record her refusing. Some read that silence as agreement. Others read it as a story that was never interested in her side of it. Both readings are held by careful people, and this episode is not going to settle it. It doesn't have to. The text settles the only question that matters, and it does it in the next chapter. Nathan comes to the king with a story. There were 2 men in one city, the one rich, the other poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds. The poor man had nothing save 1 little ewe lamb. It ate of his own meat and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter. A traveler comes to the rich man, and the rich man will not take from his own flock. He takes the poor man's lamb. David's anger burns. He says the man deserves to die. Thou art the man. Now look at the role the parable gives her. She is the lamb, the one thing the poor man had. And the verb is taken. A lamb is not a partner in a theft. A lamb does not conspire. Whatever else Nathan's story is doing, it is not describing a seduction. And Nathan is not a bystander offering an opinion. He is delivering a verdict. Read what follows. The charge is that David killed Uriah with the sword and took his wife. The sentence falls on David's house. The confession is David's. She is not addressed. She is not charged. She is not named in the judgment at all. The story we inherited made her the tempter. The prophet sent to name the sin made her the stolen thing. Before the prophet, there was a soldier. David recalls Uriah from the siege and tells him to go home. Uriah sleeps at the palace door instead. Asked why, he says, "The ark and Israel and Judah are in tents, and Joab and the servants are camped in open fields. Shall I then go into my house to eat and drink and to lie with my wife?" The most honorable line in the chapter belongs to the man who is about to be killed for it. He is sent back to the siege carrying the letter that orders his own death. It is sealed, and he is loyal. Then, she heard that Uriah, her husband, was dead, and she mourned for her husband. 2 words of interior life in 27 verses, and they are grief. When the mourning is past, David sends and fetches her. Sent for, again. The child dies, and then a line that is easy to read straight past. David comforted Bathsheba, his wife. The first time the story admits she has something to be comforted for. She bears another son. His name is Solomon. And years later, David's counselor leaves him for Absalom. Ahithophel's advice to the son in revolt is this: take your father's women, publicly, on a roof, in the sight of all Israel. When that counsel is refused, he goes home, sets his house in order, and hangs himself. If the Eliam in the roll of 30 was her father, then the man who designed that humiliation was her grandfather. And he built it to mirror the crime. A roof. Another man's women, in full view. Scripture never draws that line. It lays down both ends of it and says nothing. It is an inference. It stays one. 40 years pass. David is old and cold and cannot be warmed. And his eldest surviving son, Adonijah, exalts himself and says, "I will be king." Nathan goes to Bathsheba. Be clear about this. The plan is his. He tells her exactly what to say. Go into the king and remind him that he swore Solomon would reign. She goes in. She delivers the question. And then she keeps going. For 4 verses, Nathan never gave her. She lays out the coup. Who has been anointed, who is eating and drinking at Adonijah's table, that the king himself has not been told. And then she turns it. And thou, my lord, O king, the eyes of all Israel are upon thee. And then the cost of doing nothing. When my lord the king shall sleep with his fathers, I and my son Solomon shall be counted offenders. She was sent to ask a question. She made a case. She argued consequence rather than mercy. And she named what it would cost the kingdom, not only what it would cost her. David swears the oath that day. Solomon is king. The throne passed because she walked into that room. And 1 chapter later, the king rose up to meet her and bowed himself unto her and caused a seat to be set for the king's mother. And she sat on his right hand. In 2 Samuel 11, she is sent for. In 1 Kings 2, the king stands up. And then, in that same chapter, Adonijah asks her to carry a request to Solomon. She carries it. Solomon hears a claim on the throne inside it and has his brother killed. Whether she knew what she was carrying, the text does not say. It is read both ways. We are not going to end on a throne and quietly skip the 12 verses that follow it. That would be the same selective reading we set out to correct. The version everyone knows requires her to have done something the text never says she did. Put her back where the sentences actually put her. Off the roof, unnamed until the king asked, taken, and then silent for 22 verses. And nothing about this story becomes gentler. It becomes clearer. And the woman it was done to did not disappear. She outlived him. She outmaneuvered a coup. She ended on a throne at the right hand of a king. Matthew's genealogy of Jesus names 4 women before Mary: Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, and the 4th is not given a name at all, only her that had been the wife of Uriah. She is in the line, and still described by the man she was taken from, so we will say it. Bathsheba. Rahab is 2 names above her in that same list. Her episode is linked below.